What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Line in the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're here today with a new series for Star Wars Week. A 4D build. You know, when I did the Venator, it was a good time. I learned so much about making YouTube videos and just kind of like how to stage myself and set myself up and do all the things. And it was a very enjoyable model to build, and so I figure what better way to celebrate Star Wars Week by building the most foul-mouthed little droid in all of the galaxy. Except for maybe Chopper. I think Chopper is definitely a little bit more foul-mouthed, but nobody's been bleeped out more than R2 has on screen. So we're going to build this. I took a look at the instructions. I went ahead and opened it real quick. I haven't taken apart the cardstock, however, yet. Probably get about 4 episodes or so out of this. So let's just go ahead and get started, shall we? If you guys aren't familiar with what a 4D build is, I know 4D doesn't really exist, but or does it? Aliens. But 4D build is the name of the company, and these are cardstock models. And so this is going to measure out to be about 7.5 inches by about 7.5 inches by 11 inches tall. So they're fairly large. And I did one of these for the Venator. I've also done the 4D build of the Flying Dutchman as well, and that one turned out really cool. So this is my third one, and I'm much more prepared and set up to do it this time. So we'll talk a little bit about how to build these, and then I'm going to go ahead and get all of my parts separated for the first couple of steps, and we'll start building. So let's go ahead and get it open. So they provide you with glue. Don't use this. I don't know what glue this is. I don't know what we could use it for, but it sucks. No offense, 4D, but that glue sucks. We have our instructions. Very cool. I really like these magazines. As soon as I pulled it out, I'm like, oh man, that's super cool. It just kind of brought me back to when I first started doing this on my channel. So it gives you each one of the steps along the way. It's going to have the, in the black here, it's going to have the part number from the card. There's, I think, 7 cards in this one, for like total of 201 parts. And so you just separate them off of their cards, and then there are certain parts, and you'll see here in a minute that there are going to be parts that you need to punch out. That's what we're going to be using our screwdriver for, and I bet you never thought a Wero was going to be used for this. What do you think, Steve? So then we have our cardstock, and it's fairly heavy. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 sheets in here, and it's not as like wide and encompassing. The Venator was a very big box, and it was a pretty heavy one, and it is still a pretty heavy model. This, however, is fairly heavy. I wonder if it has a weight on the box. Well, it's not food, so why would it have a weight on the box? What a dumbass. I'm going to leave that in there. Let's go ahead and get our cardstock opened up here. If they do provide you with a little sheet or a little tab puncher that looks like this, don't use it. It's just going to get ruined after a short amount of time. I'm just going to go a quick slice through here. Go ahead and get our cellophane taken off. Have you guys ever built one of these? Let me know if you have. I'm super curious. There's a lot of fun. If you haven't, I definitely recommend it. They're nice and like kind of relaxing and fun. You don't really have to do too much. So here's cardstock number 8, or number A. Wow. And then we have B. That's pretty cool. These are all the curved pieces for the dome, which we're going to be getting into today. I'm going to look at lighting this as well, so I need to figure out how I'm going to approach that, and we'll do that in the next episode. I wanted to see how this was going to basically go together in the beginning before I start looking at lighting. So, more of the, it seems like it's kind of the internal piece, and these are what I'm saying for the parts that you punch out. So, a lot of these chads, if you aren't familiar with the election from 2000, get familiar with the chad. These are punch outs. And dimple chads and hanging chads were a thing in the 2000 election. An entire election was won based on those, which is interesting. And some more. These look like parts of the leg. These are definitely the hoses that connect to his feet to his leg. more bits to his leg for sure. He's fairly tall. I think 11 inches was what it was saying. So, and there's part number F. Card number F. You know, and I was thinking, if you haven't built one of these before, I'm going to go ahead and show you on this first one how to go ahead and separate the parts. I like to just very gently push, kind of along the edges, and you'll start to punch it out. They're punch-out cards, pre-cut, and you just kind of want to push. Don't bend. Be gentle. Be patient. Don't force the issue, because you can rip cardstock and you're going to have to fix it. And sometimes the pressings are super tight, like this one. The Venator was a little... Well, it does help if you spread them out. Oh my, there's much more. Hold on. We're not done yet. Oh, or is it just that one? Oh, no. Each one of these has... Okay. They're a lot bigger than I thought. Okay. So I was like, why isn't this working? There we go. I'm a dumb. So there we are. That was much easier. So we're going to take A1. Do we need A2 at all? We're going to go ahead and leave that in the center. So A2 is sitting in the center right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop the middle out here. And just being, once again, just very gently pushing. Try not to bend your cardstock. There we go. I'm going to set A2 off to the side. And we have A1 ready to go. Let's go ahead and do A7 real fast. So I'm going to start by pushing out A8 and setting that one off to the side. Then... just very simply, one of the things I like to do is kind of like push down. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. So just keep your hand down and pull up on the card, and the part will come out. It all depends on which pieces you're trying to use. So A2 is used real quick, and A8. So I'm going to go ahead and put two. I'll do it. Let's do the first stage together here before I move on to cleaning up. So here's A2, and what I do is I keep all my parts together for each step. If it's going to be in a certain assembly, I'm going to keep them together. For a lot of the times, they do have the names. Like here, it says A8 there, so you can see it. But I like to make sure that I OCD, keep everything together. These are now done. You're going to wind up with a lot of recycling after everything is said and done. And then we're going to go over to C. Grab C here. And we're going to grab part C22. And then we're going to grab A15. So C22. It's going to be right here. And just be very gentle. Don't bend your pieces. Like if they want you to bend it, there will be creases in there and you'll know where. But you want to keep these pieces as straight as possible. And keep your tabs. This is going to be an insert tab here. And we're going to get into how we protect those as we go along. So we're going to be basically creating a glaze with glue. Sometimes you'll pull off some paper. Just go ahead and remove it. Totally fine. All right. So this one, C22, goes with A8. And then we're going to go back to A. And we're going to find A15, which looks just like the other one there. And you're going to see here that there are dots and triangles and different colored things. Arrows and diamonds and what have you. Those are the matchup points. Those are where there's going to be certain points where you're going to have to match certain parts up, and you can only put a certain part that looks like all of the others right there. Okay. So now, for any parts that have like little pieces of paper that stick off, I like to grab a piece of I like to grab my hobby knife and just go in and very carefully cut it out. Tweezers are going to be helpful for you. Screwdriver is going to be helpful for you. Anything that's going to help you push and prod and pull without damaging anything. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with step number 1. we are going to take a number 1. Is this A1 number 1? This is A number 7. But there's also some cleanup that we need to do. So, before we go, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So there's going to be some times where you feel like you want to rip off your pieces. And don't do that, because you can actually rip off the front. The back, it's not so important, like back here. But on this top part, you don't want to do that. So here's where I'm going to grab my pointy tweezers. And I think I actually can just kind of grab and pull. There we go. Let me make sure all my connection points are cleaned up. There's always, the thing with these is there's just a lot of cleanup work that has to happen. It's a lot of like prep. It is a puzzle, really, in the end. So now, what I'm going to do with a screwdriver is just pop flathead screwdriver. Like I said, I don't think a wear was ever thought to be used for one of these. And right now I'm using my, what is it, the 0.5. So, and you're just going to kind of push them off the back. And then what I like to do is keep my hand right behind here. Push, and then just kind of drop. Now, I do this over my instructions because what I can do is I can grab the instruction book, fold it up just like that, and dump it into the trash. These get everywhere. It took me a month to clean up all the different chads that I was finding after building the Venator. So, and as you can see here, I mean, when I say ripping paper, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Now, thankfully, this is going to be in the inner part, and I'm not too worried about it, but I got a little bit careless here. So, do be careful. Take care with your parts. Okay, so that's the rest of our chads that need to be taken care of. So, we have part A1 with the tab facing back here. And we have A7, which has, very interesting. Oh, here's A1 and here's A7, my goodness. Okay, so A7 is going to go like this. A1, let's make sure you have to get this right, is going to go like that, straight up, 12 o'clock. Is that right? No, it's not. Oh, there it is. So it's between 13 and 12 right there, as you can see. That's going to go like that. So first things first, what we're going to do is we are going to connect up our pieces. And so it says on the instructions you're going to have the arrow pointing up, and then you have the pentagon down here. This part is a slide connection, so it's just going to slide right over the top and just fit in place like that. You could glue here if you want to, but keep in mind that this is a puzzle and will actually stay together on its own. As you go through and strengthen it up, like, you know, you add all the pieces, that's where it really, like, that's where the strength of the model comes in, and then you want to glue afterwards along the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up our little tab on the inside here. There we are. And once again, just going to fit this right over the top. But I'm going to put my number facing down. I don't know if that matters in this piece, but we will make sure to do so. Okay. Both of our pieces are put together, just like so. And then these are going to connect with the inner part right here. And you'll see that there is a triangle here and a triangle there. That is where you are going to mount this up. You're going to do the same thing over here with a square and a square. Kind of takes the dumb out of it. Trust me. When I found out in wrapping the engines for the Venator, you take the dumb out of it, but you can't take the dumb out of the person. So that's what I gotta say. And we just did a dumb. So I'm actually going to go ahead and match it up. So we have the pentagon that's down here. And you have a pentagon right down there in the lower part there. So we're going to match those pieces up. Just like so. Then we're going to come match up our square and our diamond. So square and diamond. And that is how you basically kind of work through each section. Now, I am going to go through and clean up all the parts for steps 1 all the way. We just did step like 1A. So we're going to clean up all my parts through step 1 through 3. And I will be back with everything ready to go. Let's go ahead and get picking. Alright, so I got all my stuff all separated. It took about, 20 minutes or so actually to get that done. So let's go ahead and get my instructions off to the side here. Slide some things out of the way. Now we are going to start with these right over here. And I did not, when I was doing this to begin with, we have a 10. I was not paying attention to, like, these are stacked in the order in which we're supposed to do. And I was like, oh yeah. So we're going to be doing a 5, a 10. So now, as you can see here, there is a series of numbers around the outside. And then each one of these has a number around the outside there. Pretty clever, actually. I really enjoy the way they do that. And then the same thing is actually going to be applicable here. So when we hook this up, we're going to do one at a time. So we're going to line this up. We're going to separate each one of our sides there. And we're going to start with 1. Get that lined up and slot it into place. And then as you can see, we got a 1 here and a 1 there. And then that is going to line up with the bottom connection point, just like that. Push it all the way in. Make sure to square your ends, just like that. Get it all the way in. You really want to take your time while you're doing this to make sure that everything is nice and put in place. Otherwise, it will not hold very well long term, I would say. Okay, so 2 is going to be a small one. Slot that one into place. Then bring it up. There we go. And number 3. And number 4. Number 5. Once again, as you're connecting them, some of them can get a little loose. There's a fly in here. Not cool. Let's get into that time of year. Got the doors open. Haven't recorded in the summer yet, so I'm curious to see what this is going to be like. Computer does fine for cooling, so I'm not too worried about that. But still, I'm just like, what's it going to be like for me? We have air conditioning, thankfully. All right. And then number 8. So 8 is going to be like number 1 and is going to connect up at the 4 points. I'm going to start by pushing it at the front. And then making sure to slot this one all the way back again. And then pushing this all the way forward. There we are. Very nice and easy. Very nice and easy, actually. I like it. I like it. And you can definitely tell that R2 is getting his shape. So, let's go ahead and move on. Alright, so let's start with part number C14, which is going to be this orange piece. And you're going to be bending these very slightly at each one of those crease points. And then we are going to be installing that. You got the diamond here, and then you got the diamond there. You're going to install straight in. Oh. And then bend and put in just like that. Excellent. Perfect. Okay. So now we're going to grab part number C11, and it's going to be this blue strip, and it's one of his sensor strips. And this one is going to go starting here. Oh, nope, starting here. So the orange to orange. So if it doesn't seem like it fits right the first time, check your mounting points. And this one is only going to be tabbing in. in 2 spots at both ends. All right, and there we are. Got that fitted into place after some encouragement. You will hear me use the phrase screwdriver encouragement quite a bit in this series, because sometimes you got to use a little bit of screwdriver to encourage it to get into place. Goodness me. So, we are going to carefully slot this one back into place. There we are. Okay, after that faff, let's go ahead and grab part number A9. And it looks like this one is going to go in right here. There we are. Sometimes you're going to have to like bend and move the pieces a little bit to get them square. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and turn R2 around. And we're going to start with part number 9, which is going to be right here. And same concept as before. Now that R2 is a little bit more sturdy, it's a little bit easier to put his pieces in. Let's go ahead and get the rest of the ring pieces here. You're going to assume that this is number 16, so I'm going to start at the outside and get the big piece put in first. And make sure to get this piece down here. Oh, I see what I did there. I put this on the wrong spot. Just like that. That, and that. There we go. I set whatever this piece, that piece that fell out, I set it back in there incorrectly. There we go. Very good. And don't be afraid to like bend a piece. You can always bend it back. Okay. Let's grab part number 15. Number 14. Haha, I killed a bug right there on my mat. And then part number 13. Very cool. Right, so now, just going to go ahead and squeeze all those pieces in, make sure everything's all nice and flush and fit. And now, this is nice and solid. So now, let's go ahead and turn. We're going to be putting part number C13. So we have a diamond, or a triangle right there, that we are going to basically, so there are some crease points, so we're going to fold, 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 and fold. We're going to have like one of these sort of like looks. We're going to take the diamond and match it up right here. Go across to the other point. Bend the piece. And then you want to basically create a little box. Just like that. Very cool. Then we're going to grab part number C9, which is this bright piece. We got a square, and a square, and a square. Alright, so there's that. And then we're going to plug that into place. Now, the reason we're going to be stopping at step number 3 today is because once we get to this point, I can start thinking about where I want to stick some LEDs, because we are definitely going to be lighting this bad boy. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and grab part number A6. And there are 3 tabs up here at the top. And there are 3 tabs up here at the top. We are simply going to attempt to line these up. I didn't punch one of these chads out. There we are. Alright, so there's one big one bigger one, and then the 2 smaller ones. So we're just going to go ahead and bend that piece a little bit. Bigger one's up top here. Find one of them that will actually tab up. Get to the other one, push them down. Line it up, and then be very careful. Don't force the issue if it's not wanting to go. There we go. And my first time saying it, a little bit of screwdriver encouragement. Just going to kind of push the tab. So it gets into its proper spot. And there we are. Just like so. So R2's cap is on. I'm going to need to glue that down. And we'll get to the gluing in the next episode. We're not going to need to get here today. So, not too worried about that. Then we're going to grab part number B2. And there is a pentagon on the front. And so let's go find our pentagon, which is right here. So that looks like it's going to tab. Does that go first? No, it goes on after. Yep. All right, so that is 1 and 2 complete. Let's go ahead and get the skin on the outside. And I think I'm only going to do the skin. So, alright, my friends, I was kind of taking a look, and if I want to light this up in any way, I can't move on any further, and so I am going to take a look for this and see where I can't get a light here, and a couple of maybe SMDs, something like that, or some... I'm going to figure out something for the next episode, and we're going to start by getting our lights wired up in the next one. So that, my friends, is the beginning of our 4D Star Wars Week build of R2-D2. And I gotta say, this was super cool getting back into building one of these 4D models. I need to do more of these. These are a lot of fun. It's just kind of relaxing, and like you don't really have to think too hard, and you just have to like be able to put pieces in place. And in the next one, we're going to talk a little bit about how these tabs work, how to strengthen them, and actually that's the other side of it too, is I was like, I haven't done any of the strengthening, and it's getting a little late in the episode. So, the next episode we're going to be talking about, how to strengthen the tabs, get our next couple steps done, and we're going to go ahead and get our model lit up. So, this will be back on Sunday this week on Revenge of the 5th. May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. So, I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things y'all could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me, watching me punch out some paper and put it together, which I think is pretty damn cool. If you guys have any questions, comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world wherever you happen to be. And just remember that the Force will be with you always.